Dear students, it is the third video for week 8. In the previous video, second, we expressed about reader's adaptation. About means that whatever you are doing before you enter into a discussion, dialogue, speech, lecture, presentation, whatsoever you are intending to do, you must analyze your audience initially, that who they are, what is their educational level, what is their technical educational interest, aptitude, attitude, need, desire, gender, so that you may transport your concept successfully and effectively, because all these measures, all these controls are mandatory to achieve a purposeful communication. Well, in this video we'll discuss that what are the main points writing technically or writing a technical report for technical and non-technical audience both, that after having analyzed our audience, whether they are technical or non-technical, we have to write a report, what things we can include in it and what things we can exclude. Fine. This debate will mainly be about, suppose you are dealing with non-technical audience dominantly, and how can you write a report for them. Let's read. Let's say you have analyzed your audience until you know them better than you know yourself. What good is it? How do you use this information? How do you keep from writing something that will still be incomprehensible or useless to your audience? I have explained it in the very brief manner that the business of writing to your audience takes a lot of practice. The more you work at it, the more you will develop an intuition about how most effectively to reach your audience. But there are some controls you can use to have a better chance to connect with your readers. The following controls mostly have to do with making information more understandable for your specific audience. Means the same thing, that you have analyzed your audience, and in case your audience is a bit special, what things you must include. Add information readers need to understand your document. This is the first thing a writer must bear, a speaker must bear, a presenter must bear, that what information is required to be added for the understanding of the audience. Fine. To understand your speech and discussion, and you have seen this, that mostly when you read the books, you find them that how to read this book, how to use this gadget, instruction manuals are written. Check to see whether certain key information is missing. For example, a critical series of steps from a set of instructions, important background that helps beginners understand the main discussion or definition of the key terms, defining your complex subject matters. Second thing is, omit information your readers don't need. Do not repeat the information, unnecessary information which your readers don't need. This will make your writing clumsy and less interesting, and in simple words, boring. Third point you must keep, change the level of information you currently have. Means that being a writer, being a researcher, being a technician or a developer, you should not stay on or contend on simply the old dated information. According to the level of the audience, you must share the latest information. For example, for the experts, you can share the latest information. For the beginners, you can share the information that they need at the beginning level, but it doesn't mean that the information is outdated. Add examples to help readers understand. This is very important, that a reader should not be assumed an expert or a scholar. That must be assumed at a medium, moderate level, fine, and you must assume that you are going to teach him or her or inform her, fine. Thereby, add examples. Add examples. For example, a student enrolls in CS program is not supposed to be expert already. For them, you have to include simple definition and examples. Let's read. Examples are one of the most powerful ways to connect with audience, particularly in instructions. Even in non-instructional text, for example, when you are trying to explain a technical concept, examples are major help. Analogies in particular. Analogies means another examples in which language twists are made. Next, change the level of your examples. That all the time you should not stay on one example. Rather than change the level of the example. As the complexity of the content grows, so does your examples. You may be using examples, but the technical content or the level may not be appropriate to your reader. Mean, with the complexity of examples, you must shifting on to the next advanced examples. Change the organization of your information. This is wonderful, that you should follow, according to the subject matter, the best organizational setup. And the simplest form of organization is writing outlines, summaries, and all this. This is called changing the organizations. You are using inductive logic or deductive, mean from simple to complex or complex to simple. Let's read. Sometimes you have all the right information but arrange it in the wrong way. For example, there can be too much background information up front or too little, such that certain readers get lost. Sometimes background information needs to be consolidated into the main information. For example, in instructions, it is sometimes better to feed in chunks or background at the point where they are immediately needed. I mean, you have to put bullets and chunks so that your reader may understand. Strengthen transitions. I mean, the strong connectors, strong linking words, they have to be very much important. And we have talked a lot about it, that all your ideas must be logically and linguistically connected. In case you have not put your ideas properly and the words are not, then it's all trouble. These words are called, for example, however, therefore, clear. These words are called transition. For your understanding, we read it. It may be difficult for readers, particularly non-specialists, to see the connections between the main sections of your report, between individual paragraphs, and sometimes even between the individual sentences. You can make these connections much clearer by adding transition words and by echoing keywords more accurately. Words like therefore, for example, however, are the transition words. They indicate the logical connections to the previous thought to the upcoming thought. Fine. Write strong introductions both for the whole document and for the major sections. This is very key section. It means that in technical and business writing, it is mandatory to introduce your subject matters logically. In introduction, you must include topic, subtopic, introduce the topic, definition, theory, it's little bit about history, transition, and a line of development that what are you going to tell them in the entire discussion. All these sentences should be general in nature. In introduction, we do not start explaining the subject matters. Fine. Therefore, abstracts are written for the entire book. They are in the books, they are called prefaces also, executive summaries. Similarly, all the chapters starts from proper introductions, and they have the some chapter of the summary of the chapter, and plus the conclusions. I hope you have understood this. Create topic sentences for paragraphs and paragraphs groups. Already discussed that no paragraph is without a stance. The stance, the key point, the main point in the paragraph is called topic sentence. And all the details actually are the supporting. So a topic sentence is necessary. Either you place it in the beginning or either you place it in the last, in the end. Change sentence styles and length. Do not write always in one sentence structure. And it is really a drawback with our writing styles that we simply use the natural style subject, verb, and object. Rather than to bring clarity and colorfulness in your writing, everybody must try to use the variety of sentences, structures, change the voice, active, passive, clear. This discussion has already been made in the next sections. Passive personless writing is harder to read. Put people and action in your writing. Mean it is recommended that every person should write in active sense, clear sentences, direct expressions, work on sentence clarity and economy. That your sentence must be clear, they must be in active sense, and they should be less words. Fine. Use more or different graphics. For technical and business writing, graphics are necessary. That you should add graphs, charts, DFDs, and others. Break up text for consolidated text into meaningful chunks. Mean you must divide a big paragraph into the sub paragraphs. Add cross references to important information. Wherever you find important information, you should use the cross referencing. Referencing is very important to avoid plagiarism. Use headings and lists. Headings and lists are mandatory to understand your document properly, and use the special topography. Topography means typing size, color, fonts. As you find that for your understanding, I have highlighted and colored is in red. Hope you have all understood. Thank you very much.